All right, welcome back. This will be the last video in the general transit workshop. So very good job for making it to this last video. In this video, we're going to be doing a practice. This will be very similar and substantially similar to the previous example that we did. And in this video, we're going to be engaging with the transit system of Salt Lake City, the Utah Transit Authority. So let's just kind of dive into our tasks. So we have three tasks in this practice. First, to name at least two patterns you notice in bus numbering. Two, to create an itinerary from Cottonwood Corporate Center to Riverton Hospital. And then similar to the example, starting at 9 a.m. on a weekday, at approximately what time would you arrive to your destination? And you can use the link below, tinyurl.com/UTA schedules, to access the schedule website for the Utah Transit Authority. I'll just give everybody 5 seconds to pause and work on this activity, and then we will go over the answers in just a bit. All right, hopefully you have paused, unpaused, and now you're back and we can go over the answers. Right. So the first exercise is to name at least two patterns in bus numbering. So similar to what we did before, let's kind of just scroll around, right? What do we notice? Well, some of the patterns that you might have noticed are that the 4XX or 4YY, we'll use the XX notation for this these examples, they are essentially express buses, right? We see how they utilize these kinds of what we can kind of assume are highways. We see they're going to destinations that are kind of not represented on the map. We see, for example, the 454, we see the 473, the 470, the 455, all going to destination outside the map. We see also, for example, the letter F. When the letter F precedes a route number, we know it's a flex route. We know that from the legend where it says routes are flex routes, if the F is in front of it. We also can notice that a correspondence between the street that a route runs on and its number, right? So if you look somewhat closely, this is maybe a pattern that's less noticeable, but let's just zoom in on a section, right? So what we notice is that all the 2XX routes run north-south, whereas the routes that are 2 or 1 digit run east to west, right? What we notice is that the XX or YY portion actually corresponds with the street it runs on, right? So for example, look, 900 south, what runs on 900 south? The 9. If we go lower, 3300 south, what runs on it? The 33. 72 runs on, if we find that, Fort Union Boulevard. Okay, maybe this is an exception. But if we keep going down, F94 runs on 9400 south, and so on. Similar for the 2XX routes, right? 213, the last 2 digits, 13, 1300 east. 217, Redwood Road. So maybe this is kind of not named, but for example, the 227, 2700 west, 232, 3200 west, and so on, right? 240, 4000 west. We also see another rule is that in the southern portion, right, of this map, we see the predominance of 800 series routes or 8XX routes. So that's maybe another rule we can derive. And with 5XX routes, we actually see that some of the same patterns as 2XX and just XX routes still kind of apply, right? It's a little bit more messy, but we can still see some of the rules applying. For example, the 518, doing a little stretch of 11800 south, right? We see some sort of the commonalities from before, essentially. So our next task is to create an itinerary from Cottonwood Corporate Center to Riverton Hospital. So let's first locate Cottonwood Corporate Center and Riverton Hospital. Cottonwood Corporate Center, right here. Riverton Hospital, right here. So now we need to build an itinerary. So let's first go back to our origin. Of course, many answers are possible. This is just one of them, and we'll base it basically essentially off of the answer that I give. So, what possible itinerary? So we have two options, right? Leaving Cottonwood Corporate Center. We have the 223 and the 72. In this instance, it will be better to take the 72 because the 72 goes south, right? If you're thinking about directness, 72 goes south and we want to go south. So let's take the 72, right? We're going to our first transit hub. So let's go along, and the 72 terminates at Fort Union Station. And so this will be our kind of first transit hub. And from Fort Union Station, we can, of course, connect to some sort of rail line, right? And that will be the blue line here. So if we notice, right, the blue line doesn't actually get us anywhere towards the west. It actually, in fact, only goes kind of north and south. It doesn't go east to west. To actually go east to west, we'd have to transfer to this red line here. And so we want to essentially make a transfer from one transit hub to the next. How do we do that? Well, we can take the blue line to a place where all transfers can be effectuated. For example, in this itinerary, we will go to Murray Central Station, right? So we'll go from Fort Union Station to Murray Central Station, transfer onto this red line, which will continue, which will eventually take us west until we reach the last stop, Daybreak Parkway Station. And then finally, we can just take our last bus, the F518, which runs right next to Riverton Hospital, and brings us essentially to Riverton Hospital and completes the trip. Okay, so based off of that itinerary, now let's find how long it will take starting at 9 a.m. on a weekday to arrive. So I'll just pull up the schedules. So here we have the schedules. And let's just go through our itinerary, right? We started with the 72. So we'll click on bus 72. And we're going in the direction of Midvale, Fort Union. All right, so leaving at 9 a.m., right? The first bus out will be 9:14 a.m. And of course, we're starting at the origin terminal. So we can assume it's this, and we'll depart at 9:14, which will get us to Midvale Fort Union Station at 9:38. So let's remember that time, 9:38. And now we're going to look at our rail option, the rail option we defined in our itinerary. So we'll go back. We're going to take the blue line. If we, this particular one, we're going towards, it will be Salt Lake Central Station. Wait for that to load. All right. So we're going from Midvale for Union Station, and we want to go to Murray Central Station right here. All right. So we left or we arrived to Midvale Fort Union Station at 9:38. All right. So let's scroll to a place that's kind of like 9:48. And we see, sorry, 9:38. And so we see that the first trip after 9:38 is 9:42. And if we look down the timetable, we arrived at Murray Central Station at 9:47. So let's note down 9:47 and let's look at the red line, which is our next train. So of course, we're going towards daybreak, the last stop or the terminal stop. So we're going to start at Murray Central Station. And we arrived at 9:47. So we'll scroll towards a place that's kind of like 9:47. And we will board the 9:51 right here. So conveniently, the 9:51, and we see that it arrives to Daybreak Parkway Station at 10:16. All right, so now let's remember that time, 10:16, and let's find our final bus, the F518. So look for F518 right here. And we start at Daybreak Parkway Station. We have arrived at 10:16. So the next possible trip is 10:36, right? And so we want to go to Riverton Hospital, and we see just on the timetable that there is a time point here, which means that we will arrive to Riverton Hospital at 11:01, and that is our final answer. All right. So we've gone over all of the exercises. This has been the end of the general transit workshop. I hope you have learned a few skills, and I wish you all the best. All right, thank you.